Here we go, folks. I told you this conversation was coming, and I'm gonna wait a minute until people start coming in here. Then I get into talking about what I need to talk about. Hope everybody's having a great day. What day is it? Wednesday. Shout out to everybody who made it to Wednesday. Happy 420 day to the marijuana consumers out there. It's legal now, so shout out to everybody who now can legally consume marijuana. Hope everybody's having a great day, great middle of the week. Let's get into it. Now we're gonna get into a topic that we need to get into. I see that there's a strong need for this conversation that we're about to have here today. Shout out to everybody who's shouting me out in the comments section. Tell me your name and location so I could call you by y'all names. These screen names, I can't even pronounce some of y'all screen names. All these numbers, and I don't know what this is. So shout yourselves out, and we're gonna get into this in a second. Again, I hope everybody's having a great start to your day. My day is going good so far. This is a writing day for me. Why Most J was good. Ayetero Sand, what's going on? Ja Flute 123 was good. That's Natalie checking in from Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta. Atlanta's a beautiful city. I was in Atlanta. Last time I was in Atlanta, I was in the Midtown area. They were still kind of building it, but it looked good. It smelled brand new. That's what I remember about it. It smelled like it was brand new. And if Atlanta had Miami's weather, I moved to Atlanta, but it doesn't, so I got to stay here in Miami. Sammy from Attleboro, Massachusetts. Shout out to Massachusetts. I would not live in Massachusetts, but it's a nice place. I would visit. If the bag is right, I'll visit. Shout out to Massachusetts. Is that Michelle or Mitchell? Michelle, South Florida, was good. South Florida, I will live in. Darian Shavers, what's up, my man? My high school teammate, was good, brother. How you feeling? Ayatero Sand from St. Louis, what's going on? Jayed Montsan, what's good? Z from Miami. So we got another person from Miami in here. What's good? All right, everybody, we're going to get into this conversation that, based on what I was talking about in yesterday's live, actually not based on what I was talking about, but based on some of the comments that I was getting in the live that I did yesterday, I realized that this is a topic that absolutely we need to talk about. We're going to talk about this at Work on Your Game Live, and I'm going to explain all that. I'm going to give my introduction in a second. We're going to talk about this deeper at Work on Your Game Live, but I wanted to talk about it today just to give y'all a primer so you can get ready for the event that's coming up 2 weeks from now, May 5th and 6th. So first of all, let me give a quick introduction to myself for those of you who are unfamiliar with me, and even those of you who are familiar with me. My name is Dre Baldwin, a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 31 books. I'm the creator of this whole brand business philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the pro athlete mindset, tools, strategies, skills, all the stuff that you need to succeed as an athlete in any sport at whatever level, and applying those same tools to your day-to-day work and your everyday life. That's what my whole brand philosophy, everything that I do is all about that. And I have an event coming up. One of the reasons I've been doing these lives, I used to do lives all the time. Over the years, I've published a lot of content online. Any of you who know me knows that. But I've been doing these lives because I have an event coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, so my event is going to be in 2 weeks from tomorrow, May 5th and 6th. It's called Work on Your Game Live. It is a virtual event, so you can consume it from wherever you at right now, on your phone, on your computer, wherever you at. You can consume the event right there, and it's going to be a 2-day event. It is specifically for one type of person. This is for the entrepreneur, thought leader who is selling your intellectual property. So this is not for everybody. It's for the entrepreneur who is selling your intellectual property, meaning you're taking knowledge out of your head and you're selling it, meaning you're writing books, you're doing coaching, speaking, courses, you want to have programs, workshops, masterminds, anything like that, anything that you are just basically trading on your knowledge and your experience. We call that thought leadership. Or the stuff in your head that you sell, we call that intellectual property. So, real estate is like real property. It's like a physical thing that you can hold in your hand. Intellectual property is we can't hold it in our hands, but it's a real thing, and you can package it up and sell it. That's called intellectual property. Anybody who is in that space, or you want to be in that space, or you think you might one day get into that space, you want to come to this event May 5th and 6th. It's a 2-day event. You can get your tickets at that link right there that says workonyourgame.live. is also the link in my bio. Now, I've been doing these lives talking about some topics that are going to go around that event. As I told you, the event's 2 days. So on day 1, we're going to be talking mindset and strategy. Day 2, we're going to be talking application and putting this stuff to work, actually execution, application and execution on day 2, mindset and strategy on day 1. And yesterday we were talking about selling yourself, right? And on the live, at least, whenever y'all watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube, the replay's up. So whenever I put this up, I'll put it up. And one of the things that came up yesterday in the discussion, when I was reading through you all's comments and the things that people were saying, that I noticed that many of you, and this is not just the people who were here yesterday, and it's not just y'all who are watching right now, but I notice many people have very, very, very extreme, emergency level, poor mindsets around the concept of money. And this is it. The reason why this is an emergency is because if you're an entrepreneur, your whole ethos, everything that you do is based on your ability to get money from the people who you are selling to. And not get money in a negative way. You're not bamboozling them. You're not stealing from them. You're not taking money from them that they don't want to give to you. But understand that if your mindset is not in the right place around the concept of money, it's not about a certain amount of money. Your mind's not right about the concept of money. You should not be an entrepreneur. You shouldn't even be in this game because you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to lose a whole lot of time. You're going to hurt your family. You're going to hurt the people even who you're trying to help, because you're not going to be able to give them the kind of level and service that they need because your mind's not right about even getting what you need for yourself. And this is not even as much of an emergency if you work at a job, because the job tells you how much they're going to pay you. Right? So it doesn't matter how much work you do or don't do, you're going to get the paycheck every 2 weeks. So when you're an entrepreneur, you're writing your own check. You're writing your own ticket. And if your mind's not right about money, you got a problem. And this is a serious thing. So I want to make sure I'm laying down at least some foundational things that I want all of you to understand here today. But at Work on Your Game Live on day 1, where we talk mindset and strategy, we're going to go even deeper into this concept. So I want to make sure all of y'all have your mind right around this, because if your mind's not right around this and you're calling yourself an entrepreneur, you are setting yourself up for failure. You're basically on you ever seen a waterfall? It's like you're in the stream and the water is pushing you down and you see the waterfalls coming up and you can't swim. All right, you're in trouble. All right, so I want to make sure that we really get into this right here today, because I don't want to leave any of you hanging with this one. Now, I want to be clear that, listen, my expertise is in the mindset, the strategies, the accountability, the execution, like I talk to y'all about all the time, depending on where you know me from, my books, podcasts, even if you know me from back in the basketball days. So I wouldn't say that finance is my area of expertise, but I will say that if you don't understand these concepts around money, getting into entrepreneurship is putting you in a bad space. And I personally, even coming from where I came from, I had 2 parents at home. My parents did a good job raising me and my sister. My sister's a professor at a college. They did a good job. However, as I got older as an adult, I realized that there were some money mindsets that I had to unlearn, that I had to get my mind right around. Pat Riley was good. You said you bought a badge, you don't know if it didn't show. It's not showing that you got one, Pat. I don't know. You might have to buy another one. All right. I don't see it. It didn't come up if you did get one. You might have bought it from somebody else's live pack. I don't see it. But anyway, I had to unlearn some money mindsets that I got from the adults around me growing up. The adults around me, my parents did a good job with what they knew, but there were some things around just money and the mindset around money that they didn't quite understand, and I'm not sure they even cared about understanding, but that's fine. I can see it now, Pac. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who got badges. And I remember one time, I've mentioned this before, y'all probably didn't hear it, but I was maybe like 10 years old, right? And growing up, we would always eat dinner in the kitchen at the kitchen table, and we had a little TV. And this is back, we talking like the 90s here. And this one TV didn't have cable, so it was like 5 channels, like 3, 6, 10, the news channels, and like 2 other channels. So we would always have the news on. The news is on, and the news people were talking about, the government. They talking Democrats this, Republicans that. And by this point, I was old enough to understand that there was 2 different groups, Democrats, Republicans. And I knew that my parents, they would always vote. Every time there was some kind of election, they would vote, because there was a voting place that would be right across the street from my house where we grew up. So one time I asked my mom, when I heard them talking Democrats, Republicans, I said, Mom, are we, as a family, I said, are we Democrats or Republicans? And my mom said, we're Democrats. And I said, why are we Democrats? And she said, because the Republicans only work for the rich people. And I always remember her saying that. But it's something that I kept in mind, because the way that her saying that by deductive reasoning means, okay, I guess we know what group we're in. We know what group we ain't in as well. And it also was insightful for other things that I would hear that many of you have probably heard. Any of you growing up ever heard something like, leave a comment if you ever heard anything like from your adults around you, money doesn't grow on trees. If you ever heard something like, we're not rich. You ever heard something like, we can't afford that, without even knowing how much something costs. If you ever just heard you had some reason to believe that you probably shouldn't ask for something because of how much it costs, because you knew your parents would be either angry at you for asking for something that costs a lot of money, whatever is a lot of money, or they would be disappointed because they had to tell you that they couldn't afford something that costs a lot of money. So you basically learned to kind of gauge what you could ask for, what you should even want in your life, based on what you assumed your parents had financially. Now, the household that I come from, you didn't really ask your parents no adult questions. You kind of stayed in your place as a child, but I could read between the lines. I knew what to ask for and what not to ask for, and I understood. Yeah, I'm not made of money. That's another one. My dad used to say that sometimes. But I look like I'm made of money. He would say it kind of tongue in cheek, but he wasn't joking. And those are all money mindsets that I want to make sure that you all understand, because my parents were not full-time entrepreneurs. They both did some entrepreneurial stuff, like on the side. They would do like side hustles and things like that, but they both had full-time gigs. My mom's been in the education world. She ran her own business for a minute, but then she stopped it and went to work at a school. My dad worked in like a factory type stuff, and he always did side hustles and stuff like that too. But they both had full-time gigs. They were not full-time entrepreneurs, and they didn't teach me entrepreneurship. I had to learn that on my own. And I didn't really learn it until somebody pulled me into a network marketing meeting, believe it or not. That's really where I started learning entrepreneurship. So what I want y'all to understand, that there are some mindsets around money that I want y'all to really make sure you get, because if you don't have these and you're going into entrepreneurship, you could be the best entrepreneur in the world. Let me back up. You could be the best tactician at doing your thing, meaning if you write books, you write the best books in the world. You could be the best basketball trainer in the world. You could be the best photographer out there. You could be the best coach, the best speaker, the best what's something else any one of you do. You could be the best rapper, the best producer, the best personal trainer, and you could be the best at doing the thing. But if your mind is not right around money, your business is never going to catch up to your skill set. Everybody understand what I'm saying? And you want to make sure that your skill set is not so much higher than your business, because this leads to frustration. And I have people who are even in my masterminds to this very day who have this problem, and I know who they are. And they are dealing with these challenges over and over again simply because they never did any work on their money mindset. And this is what happens. Has any of you ever seen somebody who had a whole lot of game, but the results based on their game are nowhere close to their skill set? This is what happens in entrepreneurship, and this is the difference. Because if you're like, I remember once I was at an LA Fitness playing ball, and I would go to the same LA Fitness all the time. There was these younger guys, they'd be in there. And there was this kid in there, he had a lot of talent, he was really athletic, but he didn't have a mindset to kind of get on the court and dominate. And I would look at him like, man, if this dude had the mindset, he'd actually be a very good player, but he never got the mindset. And that's one thing, because it wasn't hurting his overall life. He probably wasn't even trying to be a basketball player, was why he didn't have the mentality. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're going to dedicate your life, meaning you're working 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week to do this thing, and you don't have your mind right around money, you could be the best in the world at the thing. But if your money is only 50% of your skill, now you're sitting there like, wait a minute, how am I this good? And I'm putting in all this work and I got all this game, but I'm not making any money. This is what happens when your money mindset's not right. So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And anybody who has a comment or anything or a question about anything that I say while I'm talking, just post it in the comments and I'm going to go through all of it. I'm going to go through all the comments at the end. All right, so let's get straight into this. Number one. I want to share just a few here. This is not going to be everything. This is not a conclusive list. I want to make sure everyone understands that. But let's get into this. Number one. This is the number one thing that all of you need, especially if you come from the kind of place that I come from, especially those of you who are black. I don't know how it is in the white households anywhere else in the world, but if you're black and you come from the kind of place that I come from, middle class, lower middle class, low class, or lower class, whatever it's going to be, number one thing you need to do to help your money mindset. This is the number one thing you need to do. And this is going to be the hardest thing for many of you to do. This is the emotional one. Is you must forget, delete, eliminate, shun, destroy everything that you have been told about money by people who have broke mindsets. Now, why is that such a hard thing for you to do? The reason why this is a hard thing for you to do is because those people that I'm referring to, they are people who you know, love, and trust. People who you care about. People who you talk to all the time. People who, if you seen them today, you give them a big hug and be happy to see them. They'd be happy to see you. They're still good people, but understand the mindsets that they taught you around the concept of money is one of the very things that is keeping you in a less than ideal financial space because of the mindset that they taught you. Again, it's not about the dollar amount. It is about the dollar amount, but it's not. It's about the mindset. The mindset comes before the outcome. All right, you experience it in your mind before you experience it in the physical. So whatever you're experiencing physically right now, there's something that's happening in your mind that is causing that to occur. That's just a mindset principle. And we ain't got to be talking about money. We can talk about anything. The number one thing you got to do is delete all the stuff that you were taught by people who do not have the financial situation that you want. Or they're at least not in the direction, not going in the direction that you want to go financially. And if you look at the reason why I bring up parents, because most of you are at least 21 years old, around that age or older. So your parents are in their 40s, 50s, 60s and older. All right, so they're old enough that whatever they are doing and whatever they have achieved financially, you can kind of gauge. Even if you don't know the dollar amount, you can gauge it, right? So I want you to think about your parents, because those are the people who raised you, or whoever raised you. Your grandma raised you, your aunt, your uncles, your brothers, your parents. Look at those people, and I want you to gauge what you think their financial situation is based on the kind of things that they said to you when you were growing up around money, based on the kind of things that they have and did. Did you go on vacations? Did they have extra money? How did they talk about money? How did they feel about money? What were your emotions around money? Did you ever feel anxious about money, fearful about money, scared about money, nervous to talk about money? If you had any of those happening in your household growing up, then I want you to take whatever the adults who raised you taught you about money, and I want you to throw it in the trash can and take the trash out. This is the number one thing you got to do to change your mindset around money. Because if you keep holding on to those money mindsets, guess where you're headed? You're headed the same place that they were at and that they are at probably to this very day. This is just what it is, folks. And this is one that's the hardest for people to take on, because it requires you taking something from people who you know, love, and trust and deciding objectively, I'm going to eliminate that even though I still love those people. So you can still love your parents and love your relatives and whoever raised you, whoever you got your money mindsets from. You can still love them, like them, trust them. Don't unfollow them on Facebook and all that. Still be friends with them and all of that. But whatever their mindset is around money, eliminate that. You need to get it from somewhere else. And I'm going to tell you where you can get it from. Number one thing you need to do is go find people who are actually talking about it and talking about the mindset around money, especially the emotional thing. See, it's not about a lot of people want to get straight to, when they start thinking about money, they want to start talking about, what do I do? Or Dre, where can I go to invest? Or I got this much money. Should I go get some real estate? Should I buy some stocks? Should I buy some Bitcoin? Should I get an NFT? Should I go do this thing, that thing? That the people want to get into the actions and the tactics and the things that you need to do. The first thing you need to do is get your mind right. Because if your mind's not right, I can give you all the money in the world, you're going to find a way to blow it. Because you got you got your money mindset from a broke person. It doesn't matter how much you got. This is why any of you ever hear these stories about people who win the lottery? You know what happens to most people who win the lottery when they win a lot of money? Any of you know what happens? Somebody leave in the comments, tell me if you know what happens to people who win the lottery. I'm talking about they win whatever you consider a lot. Let's say $1 million or more in the lottery. What happens to those people and all their money after they win? Does anybody know? Do they become wealthy and become moguls, business moguls? Do they become real estate? They become Donald Trump's real estate Donald Trump, not government Donald Trump. But what happens to those people who make all that money? Exactly, they go broke. Most of the people who win the lottery lose all the money. Now, why is that? Why would somebody, let's say if I'm making $50K a year, right? And then I hit the lottery, I win the Powerball and I win $30 million. Within 5 years, I'm broke. How is that possible? I got $30 million. Any of you think, what could you do? Could you spend $30 million? How does somebody go broke with $30 million? How does that happen? You know why they go broke? And it's not about a tactical thing. It's not specifically what they did. I mean, they bought a car. Ain't no car that costs $30 million. The thing is, if you give physical resources to someone who doesn't have the mental resources, they will find a way to lose the physical resources. In other words, in life, your outcomes will always equate to what's going on in your mind. So if you have the mindset of a broke person, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will find a way to blow it. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter what you have. If your mind is broke, you will be broke. I can give you 30 million, you'll go broke. I'll give you 5, you go broke. Give you another 1 million, you'll go broke. You will go broke with anything if you have a mindset of a broke person. A person who has a mindset of, I heard Mike Tyson say this. Because Mike Tyson, y'all know Mike Tyson, when he was boxing, he was making, Mike Tyson was like the biggest thing in sports in like the early 90s. He was the heavyweight champion, beating everybody, undefeated. He was making a ton of money every fight. He didn't know how much money he was making, but he was making the money. I heard Mike Tyson say this thing one time. He said, it didn't matter where you put me. I'll be traveling around the world. I'll be in foreign countries I've never been to before, couldn't speak the language, cities I've never been to before. He said, no matter where in the world you put me, I always knew how to find the ghetto, where all the pimps and the prostitutes and the drug dealers and the pimps and the hoes were at. He said, it's almost like I had a sixth sense for finding that place. And I remember Mike Tyson saying that, and I'm telling y'all that to tell you this, that whatever your mentality is, you're always going to end up in that space. No matter how good everything on the outside may be, you're going to end up wherever your mentality is focused, that's where you're going to go. Because Mike Tyson, what he was explaining, is he was talking about how he lost all his money. He was like, I still had the mentality of a ghetto person who was from the slums and broke and poor. So even when I was making $30 million a fight, and I'm staying in a suite in Las Vegas at the top of the hotel, I still found my way to the ghetto, hanging out with the drug dealers and people who were shooting heroin. Even though I should have been hanging in that hotel with the rich people, I couldn't do it because my mindset was still focused on being broke from the ghetto. And this is what y'all got to understand about money mindset. And this is the same thing for all of us. It might not be at the extremes, the highs or the lows, but it's the exact same thing. So the number one thing you got to do is look around at where you got your money mentality from. Again, usually the people who raised you. And then ask yourself, here's the next question. Have you learned anything new from anyone else since then? All right, so if you're 30 or 40 or 25, have you gotten any information around the concept of money since growing up? Have you gotten anything else? Have you gotten anywhere else? Have you read any books on finance? Have you been to any courses? Have you gone to any events? Have you had a mentor? Have you done anything to work on your mentality around the concept of money other than the way you were raised? And maybe what you got, maybe in college, in school, high school, wherever you got it from. Have you read any books? Have you taken in any information on purpose about the concept of money other than that? If the answer is no, and the people who raised you are not in the financial space that you want to be in, then you have work to do. And you need to start doing it like today. Go on Amazon, buy yourself some books. You can go to my reading list at dreallday.com/read. I got books where the concept is around money. And all the books that I've read around money that I think are good, get all of them. Read all of them. I'm not even going to tell you is any one person who's the one guy. Get all the books and find the similarities amongst the books. I'll give you a few. The Richest Man in Babylon is one of my favorites. I like, what's the dude's name? T. Harv Eker. He did what is that book called? I forget T. Harv Eker's, the name of his book, but I like his stuff. He has some events that he does. Grant Cardone has some good stuff about money. He's a more modern guy. Who's another person who talks? A lot of people talk about money. Well, who's the guy's name? Goddamn, I'm forgetting his name. I can't remember his name. I'll tell you his name in 1 second. But as soon as I think of him, but I got a whole list. It's at dreallday.com/read. So go to that list and get all the books there where they talk about money and read those. And go to an event. A lot of times when people have events where they're talking about money, usually they'll do free events. You can come to the event for free. They're going to sell you something. They're going to try to sell you something at the event. You don't have to buy it, but you can go to the event for free. Here's the good thing about going to those kind of events. And this is the reason why events matter. Even if it's a virtual event, in person is even better, is because you're going to be in a room full of people who are all trying to get information about money. All right, what better room would you want to be in? It doesn't mean they're all going to be experts, but you're in a room full of people who are trying to get information about money. Like just a couple weeks ago, last week, I bought a ticket for the Bitcoin conference next year. They usually have it down here in Miami. I found out that they had it. I didn't know about this year's conference, but I already bought a ticket for the 2023 conference. Why? First of all, because I want to learn about crypto and learn more about what's going on. But also, I'm being in a convention center with thousands of people who are all trying to get information about money. All right, what better room would you want to be in? Now, you buy a ticket to go to the club to go hear Future perform his songs off his album, but you won't buy a ticket to go to a conference where people are talking about money. All right, again, is that a broke money mindset? What you tell me? You tell me, what decisions are you making? Napoleon Hill is another one. Yes. Thank you. Napoleon Hill is a great one. Think and Grow Rich. I mean, we all know about that one. So if any of y'all haven't read that book, read it. And if you read it again. So number one, have you gotten any more information about the concept of money other than what you were raised on? That's not enough. So when it comes to the concept of money, I'm still on the first point here. A lot of people just operate in a mindset of scarcity. My upbringing, and again, my parents did a good job. Let me be clear. So if my parents see this, or somebody in my family sees this, I'm not knocking them. They did a good job. You know, I went to college, graduated. My sister went to college, graduated. I became an entrepreneur. My sister got a career and all that stuff. My parents still together to this day. But there was an anxiety and a fear around the concept of money, the way that I grew up. I remember one time I told my mom, I had like $20, right? And I went to like school, or I went to the mall or something like that. I don't remember where I was at, but I came home and my mom was like, no, how was your day? Whatever. And I told her that I thought I might have lost some money. Now, mind you, I only had like $20. I didn't lose the money. I just wasn't keeping track of it. So I had spent like some money. So I thought I had more than I actually ended up having. I came home with like $4 and I thought I should have had like 10. I thought I lost some money. And my mom immediately, she like blew up. She was like, how much money? And she got angry so quick just over that. And again, she knew how much I had. It ain't like she thought I had $1,000 in my pocket, but it was that kind of energy around the concept of money and that stuff gets into your psyche and you grow up with that. And you could be 10 years old, something like that happens. You'll be 27, not even realize that you still have that energy inside of you. So then you had this fear, this scarcity mindset around money. And this is something that came up in yesterday's live when I was taking comments and questions. And by the way, everybody who's listening to me, I will take all comments and questions at the end of this. So if you got one, just leave it in the comments. I'll respond to it. Yesterday, when I was talking about selling yourself was the concept. And some people were talking about, well, somebody made a comment. Arvin, I think it was you who made the comment, who said, well, I don't want to make too many sales because I don't want to feel like I'm taking too much. I don't want to feel like I'm taking money from people just to take it. That's a scarcity mindset around money. Now, I don't know where you got that from, Arvin. I can bet where you got it from. If I had to guess, I could probably guess where you got it from. That's a scarcity mindset around money, that you feel like you are taking money from people. When you're a salesperson, you're not taking money. You're making an exchange. You give them something, they give you something. Again, how many exchanges does Amazon do a day? How many exchanges does Apple do every day? How many exchanges does Nike do every single day? They do more exchanges in a day than most people do in their lifetimes. And they're not taking anything from it. They're not robbing anybody. People want to make these exchanges. People brag about buying stuff. All right, there's an area in Miami called the Design District. All high-end shops. All those high-end clothes that people rap about. Gucci, Tom Ford, Louboutin, Burberry. What's the other ones? I don't even know the names of all these places. All those places, they all have stores in one section of Miami. Guess what? That's the most popular place people go shop. Why? People want to spend money. Spending money is the American way. That's what we do here in America. We spend money. All right, that's what people like to do. So you as a salesperson, you should want to make exchanges with people who want to buy stuff from you. If you're thinking that you're making too many sales or you're making too much money, or you don't want to make too many sales because somebody might think you're stealing from them or think you're making too much or you're doing too much or you don't want to make too much money, that is a scarcity mindset that you probably got from the adults around you. They had a scarcity mindset. They taught it to you, not because they're trying to hurt you, because they can only teach, people only teach what they know. So they taught you that scarcity mindset. Now you got it. And if you have kids, you're going to teach your kids that unless you do something about it. This is why you have to understand what's going on in your own mind, fix it so that you don't keep passing this along to the next person. And again, if you're an entrepreneur, this is going to destroy your business probably before it even starts. So this scarcity mindset, check this. There is no such thing, everybody, and always training. I'm going to get to that. That's a good question. There's no such thing as a lack of money, people. Money doesn't run out. Do y'all know how the money system works in the United States? Do you know why inflation is happening right now? Any of you who filled up your gas tank lately, how much did it cost? Money in the United States used to be backed by gold. All right, for every dollar, there was actual real gold that backed up that dollar. That is over. It's been over for a long time. The money that we have in America, I don't even have any cash here in front of you. I do so much digitally. That money's not real. All it's based on is our belief in it. If we lose faith in the American dollar, everything we got collapses. This whole thing will collapse, and it will be like warfare out here. People will literally be breaking down each other's doors and killing each other if we lose faith in that dollar. The American monetary system is based on faith. That's it. It is not backed by anything real. It is not backed by gold. Yeah, the gold standard used to exist. Is over now. We ain't got no gold. There's not gold for all the money that we have in circulation. If the American system is running out of money, Joe Biden or whoever the president is, they're just going to make that call and they're going to say, print up some more money. And then we're just going to put more money in circulation. And that's basically all they do. That's why the crypto system is such a big deal, because people are like, this paper money eventually is going to keep losing value. This crypto thing, this value is going to go up. I was talking to my man about that the other day. He knows more about it than me, but that's why I told you. I'm going to go to the crypto conference, so let me find out what's going on here, because maybe I'm slow to the game. But y'all got to understand, there's no such thing as a lack of money. Right? Money gets printed every single day. All money is a piece of paper. That's all it is. Any of you ever made a whole bunch of money in a really short period of time? Everybody here has done that before, right? Has anybody here ever lost a whole bunch of money in a really short period of time? Any of you ever gambled? You ever been to Vegas? You ever bet on a sports game or something like that? You've lost money in a short period, and you've gained money in a short period, which means money comes and goes. All right, money is easily replaceable. It's probably the easiest thing to replace in life. It's hard to replace people. You can't replace time. Energy takes a little bit more time to replace. Attention and focus, you only do one at a time. Money is the easiest thing out there to replace. If you don't accept this, then I guarantee you that money mindset is going to hurt you, because it's going to slow you down from getting money. It's going to slow you down from being able to use money. And the people who can throw around and do the most with money, again, it's not about how much they have, but how much they can allow to circulate through them. They understand this emotionally. They emotionally understand it. See, everything that I explain, if you listen to my podcast, you read my books, you listen to what I'm saying here on this live, you logically will understand everything I'm saying, because I think I'm pretty good at explaining stuff. Logically, you can get it, but logically understanding stuff is completely different than emotionally buying into it. When you emotionally understand something, you'll take action on it. You don't even have to think about it. You just do it immediately. So you got to get the emotional understanding of this stuff, not just the logical understanding. So that's just my first point. Let's move on to the second point. So I don't have to be here all day. Number 2, concept we are talking about here today is getting your mind right around the concept of money. Number 2, and this is one that, for all you salespeople, based on what we talked about yesterday, money does not have a moral conscience. And everybody posting a question or comment, I'm going to answer all of them when I get through these points. Money does not have a moral conscience. What do I mean by this? It means being a good person, or being a nice person, or feeling like you're doing good things for people, or feeling like you deserve it, or feeling like the world owes something to you. None of these will make money come to your pocket. None of them. Being a good person is not a strategy for making money. I'm going to take a sip of water because I want that one to sink in. And let me give you another one. Being a bad person, I'm sure you don't think you're a bad person, but if you think somebody's a bad person, and I'm going to give you an example of this in a second. Being a bad person does not necessarily mean that you can't make money. And I'm going to give you a great example of this in 1 second. Being good does not mean you're going to make money, and being bad does not mean you can't make money. Money does not give a damn about you being good or bad. Money does not care about you deserving it. Money doesn't care that you go to church every Sunday. Money does not care that you have a worthy cause. None of that. Money doesn't care about any of that. Money is impartial. And money goes one place, wherever someone is following the formula that generates money. If you offer people who want it a product or service that they want at a price that they're willing to pay, you will make money. Doesn't matter what it is. All right. Any of you ever known or seen or heard of? Everybody heard of it. Everybody ever heard of a drug dealer? All right. People who sell drugs in the street. Are they doing it? Is that a worthy cause? Is that a noble cause? Are they helping people out? Are they building up their community? No. But drug dealers make a lot of money, right? All right. Your favorite rappers, our favorite rappers, I listen to rap. All right. What do they rap about? They rap about drug dealing and drug dealers. Drug dealers who made a whole lot of money. There are movies made about drug dealers because they made all this money, right? And people glorify them and look up to them. Were they doing something positive? Was that a worthy cause? Hell no. But did they make money? Yes, they did. Any of you know somebody who has a really worthy cause and they're trying to do something good for people and they're just a great person, a good person, all the good stuff you can say about a person, you can say about them, but they're broke? And you know somebody who fits that description? Of course you do. So, being good does not mean you're going to make money, and being bad does not mean you can't make money. I'm reading a book right now. I'm always reading like 3 books at the same time, but one of the books I'm reading right now is called The Wizard of Lies. If y'all don't know what that is, that's the book about Bernie Madoff. Y'all remember Bernie Madoff? Right, 14 years ago, he got arrested for running a Ponzi scheme and on Wall Street. And I'm reading the book, and I'm only about a third of the way through the book right now. But Bernie Madoff was just a really good salesperson. He was a hell of a salesperson. That's the reason why he was able to get so much money from people, and he was basically managing people's money. To keep it really simple, people would give him their money, he would manage it, and he would multiply it. Basically, they would invest money with him. He would do all the work to invest it. He would get a fee for helping them, and then he would take their 10,000 or 10 million, and he would turn it into more money. That's basically what he was doing. Allegedly, that's what he told them he was doing. But what he was really doing was running a Ponzi scheme. The money wasn't real. He was stealing all these people's money. There was no real money being made. And when he got found out, all these people had given their life savings to this man, and they had nothing. He was wiping people out. So people gave him, imagine if you worked your whole life and you gave Bernie $3 million of your money, and then you found out he was running the scheme, and your $3 million is gone, and you get nothing back. That's what happened with Bernie Madoff. Now, was Bernie Madoff a good guy? I think we can all agree, no. He's in prison to this very day. He'll be in prison until he dies. And the people who gave him money, were they good people? Yes, they were. They did good things to make that money. They made their money honestly. Now they have nothing. They got wiped out by this dude. They were good. They're with zero. He was bad. He was living in New York. I don't even know the most expensive place you could live in New York. He lived there. He had a driver. He had all that stuff. He was the guy on Wall Street. Bad guy. Made a whole lot of money. And all the good people he was serving, wiped out, broke. Not broke, but they lost a lot. So being good is not a formula for making money. You should be good, but it's not a formula for making money. So all y'all need to understand that this is not moral conscience does not belong to money. All right, so all of you need to understand there's a formula for making money. When you follow it, you get it. When you don't follow it, you don't get it. Money does not care if you're good or bad. Enron. You remember Enron, that company that went out of business? What were they doing? They were cooking the books. A whole bunch of good people lost a lot of money because of some bad people who had all the money. Again, this happens over and over again. People get ruined by scandals all the time. Good, honest people who didn't, quote unquote, deserve it. I hear people say all the time, even when I was playing ball, like sometimes I would tell people I'm about to go do this, or I would tell people about some success that I achieved, and people would congratulate me. They say, "Oh, congratulations, Dre! You work hard, you deserve it." And I would thank them because I understood the mindset behind what they were saying. I knew their intentions were positive, but deserving is not a way to achieve something. You don't achieve things by deserving them, folks. All right, you want to play in the NBA. You don't make the NBA by deserving it. You make the NBA by being good enough to get drafted and get a contract. You don't run a business by deserving to run a business or being a good guy. You run a business by having a product or a service that people want to pay for. All right, that's the way the game works, folks. So you got to understand that these formulas for success do not care who you are, where you're from, what color you are, your race, your political affiliations, your religion, none of that. All it cares about is, are you following the formula? If you follow the formula, you make money. If you don't follow the formula, you do not make money. And this is something that I would hope that your parents told you, or maybe your school teachers, if you studied finance, told you. They probably didn't. And that's why I'm telling you now, and that's why I'm giving you the responsibility. You need to go get this information. It's out there. Get this information, because this is critically important to your future success as a professional. I don't care what you do for a living. You can run a business, you can have a job, whatever you want to do. You need to understand this. And if you have children and you're around people who are younger than you, like the next generation, you need to pass this on to them so that they don't have the same problems that we had in our generation. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have access to so much information, but now we got it all. So now it's no excuse. So these are just the facts, people. Being a good person entitles you to nothing. Everybody clear on that? All right, let's move on to number 3. This is the last point. Then I'm going to answer questions and comments. If you are in business, or it doesn't matter what you do, whatever you do for a living. I don't care if you work a job and you're on payroll, if you run an entrepreneurial business and you're doing it under the table, you paying tax, whatever you're doing, you are in the business of generating revenue. That is your business. You see all these books behind me? These are my books. And yeah, I sell these books. But I'm not in the book business. I told y'all this a couple of days ago. I'm not in the book writing business. I'm not in the live streaming business. When I played ball, I wasn't in the basketball business. I'm not in the podcasting business. I'm not in the coaching business, the membership business, the mastermind business, the live events business. I'm not in none of those businesses. Even though I do all of those things and they do generate revenue, I'm not in any of those businesses. I'm in the business of generating revenue. That's the business that I'm in. And I just do different things to that end of generating revenue. All these are means to an end. Writing a book, doing a mastermind, doing coaching, doing a speaking gig, doing a live event, doing a podcast, running ads, all that stuff. Y'all see my ads on Instagram? All right. I'm in the business of generating revenue. That's the business that I'm in. And if this works to generate revenue, I'll do this. If it stops working, I'm getting rid of that and I'm going to do something else to generate revenue. I'm in the business of generating revenue. You are in the business of generating revenue. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to understand this mindset. I mean, any of you who works at a job and you're on payroll, all right, you wouldn't work there if they didn't pay you, would you? Okay, so what business are you actually in? All right, have you had that job your entire life? No. All right, before that, you had a different job, and you might leave there and work at a different job, right? So why'd you move jobs? Of course, and you might move for different reasons. Maybe you don't like the boss. Maybe you got fired. Maybe something happened. But you ain't working anywhere if you ain't getting paid. Anybody here work at a job where you work for free? You just, I just love this job so much. Don't even pay me. Just let me work. Now, I understand you would work for free, but you don't work for free. You are in the business of generating revenue. That's the job that you have. This is the mindset. This is your mindset around money. And again, don't look at this as this means this is not being greedy or is all about money or money is the only thing that matters. No. Now, any of you who knows my work, like when I'm talking to y'all here, I'm giving you real substance and real game. I'm not giving you some BS just so I can say that I did it or just so I can rob you and count the cash. I'm giving you real game. And any of you who's ever worked with me, any of you who's ever talked to me one-on-one, any of you who's ever been in any of my programs, you read any of my books, you listen to my show, I put out more game for free than most of these. My free stuff is better than most people's paid stuff. But at the same time that I just said that, I'm still in the business of generating revenue. See, the free stuff is to let you know, like, the free stuff is this good, imagine what the paid stuff is going to be. I'll tell you that up front. Like, ain't no secrets. I'm telling you that right up front. My free stuff is better than most people's paid stuff. So why would you pay for theirs when you get my free stuff is better than the stuff you even got to pay for? Now come into my paid stuff, imagine what it's going to be like. That's my business model. I'm giving it to you right now. Any of you can steal that if you want to. Any of you can steal that business model if you want to. I'm putting it out there for the public, for everybody to see. Here's the reason why I don't mind telling y'all that, because nobody can beat me at this. And I'm going to take a sip of water so y'all can let that sink in. I'm not worried about anybody becoming my competition on that, because I can't be beat. Look at my track record. You can check it. You can see it yourself. I'm not telling you that to impress you, but to impress upon you that you got to know what game you're in. And then you got to figure out how you're going to play that game. And at Work on Your Game Live, which is my event coming up in 2 weeks. By the way, anybody who came in the middle of this, my next event is that link right there where it says workonyourgame.live. That's for the thought leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, brand builders, course sellers, workshop deliverers. If you're doing any of that for a living, you want to be at this event. It's a 2-day event. Mindset and strategy on day 1, application and execution on day 2. Workonyourgame.live. You can see the details of everything we're going to be talking about at that event. So this is the third point here. Again, you're in the business of generating revenue. The thing you do is merely a vehicle for producing, revenue. That's it. The thing you do is just a vehicle. These books are just a vehicle. Coaching is just a vehicle. Mastermind is just a vehicle. A live event is just a vehicle. Whatever you do, you sell cars for a living. You sell cars so you can make money. All right. If you own a gym, you own that gym and you run that facility so you can make money. Yeah, I get it that you love being in the gym. You love the members and you love helping people and you love changing people's lives and the before and after pictures. I get it. But you wouldn't be doing that for free, because you can't pay bills with love. You can't pay bills with happiness. You can't pay bills with thanks and comments and likes. You pay bills with money. And we are in the business of generating revenue. This is just what I want all of y'all to understand. CL Keith, I appreciate that badge. So all of y'all need to understand this. So many entrepreneurs, and this is the reason why I'm even talking about all this here today. Many entrepreneurs are too focused on three things entrepreneurs focus on. Number one, 4 things actually. Number one, they focus too much on doing the thing. All right, they focus too much on doing the thing. So this is like if you're a personal trainer and you're focused so much on personal training, and you're like, well, my technique for training people is better than this guy's technique for training people, but he's making 5 times more money than me, and I don't understand. The reason you don't understand is because he's focused on making money, and you're focused on being a trainer. Yes, he's a good trainer. You may be better than him, but guess what? He's focused on the money, you're focused on the training. And guess what? You're getting exactly what you focus on. This is the game, folks. I want to make sure you really understand what I'm saying. When you focus on something, you get it. If you focus on selling, you will make sales. If you focus on doing, you will be really good at the doing. But if you're not focused on the selling, well, the person who's focused on selling, guess what they're going to do? They're going to be making sales while you're focused on how great your technique is. When you go to a conference, any of you go to conferences, if you don't go to conferences, you should start. Not even because of information. The information should be good, but the people that you meet there. Because the kind of people you meet at conferences are the kind of people who are thinking about, how can I get better at what I do? And many of you are surrounded by people who are just trying to just live in life like however it goes, it goes. But you need to get around the right kind of people. We call this the law of association. You become the average of the people you spend time around. When you go to a conference, you're going to see some people are going to be there and they're focused on the thing. All right, how do I get better at the art of the thing? In the business world, we call these people artists and marketers. You got artists and marketers. Artist is the person who's focused on the art. And I don't mean art like drawing pictures. Like writing a book is art. Being a speaker is art. Like the way that I give my speech, like how I structure my speech. I say point number 1, point number 2, point. That's all part of the art. If I'm a basketball player, that's the art is how I play ball. Like here's how I do a crossover. Look at the technique of my jump shot. I shoot like Klay Thompson. That's the art part of it. Right? The art is just doing the thing. If I'm a personal trainer, all right, here's the way I teach people to do a bench press. And here's how I have them do a squat and some burpees. That's the art. Many entrepreneurs focus too much on the art and they never pay attention to the marketing. The marketing is, how do I sell the thing? And I talked about this yesterday, and this is a very important point that all you need to drill into your brains emotionally, not just logically. You don't have to be that great at the art if you master the selling. When you get good at marketing, you don't have to be that great of an artist. In other words, you can have an average product with great marketing and you'll make money. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just the game. I said this yesterday. Any of you ever ate a burger? Everyone who's listening to this, wherever you live, is there a burger in your town that's better than McDonald's? I think everybody in here can say yes. There's a burger shop somewhere in your town that makes a better burger than anything on McDonald's menu. But at the same time, does that burger shop make more money than McDonald's? Hell no. Why is that? Because McDonald's ain't focused on the quality of the burger. I ain't saying McDonald's doesn't care about the quality of the burger, but they're not focused on the quality of the burger. McDonald's is focused on the money. And guess what McDonald's does? They make a lot of money. That's why McDonald's serves a billion people, a million people a day, whatever they do. I've been to a lot of countries outside of USA. There's a McDonald's everywhere. All right, the local mom and pop burger shop that I like here in Miami ain't another one of those nowhere else that I've been. Only here. McDonald's got 1 million locations, and they're making money on every single one of them. That's the game. Because they're focused on the money, they make the money. So a lot of entrepreneurs focus on the art of doing the thing, or they are too focused on their scarcity mindset of, I don't want to charge too much money because fill in the blank, whatever their excuse is. There's somebody who I know, entrepreneur. They work in a service-based business, let's just say that. And this person was telling me, I know this person's really good because I used to work with them. And they were telling me how much they're charging for their service. And I said, why don't you raise your prices? I said, why don't you raise your price by 4x? Whatever you're charging now, charge 4 times that. This person didn't want to do it. They didn't want to charge this price. They didn't want to charge more money because they feel like, and this is the word that they use, their own words, they said, I want to charge a fair price. Fair. A fair price. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Apple charges a fair price for the iPhone? Right now, I got on today I'm wearing some Jordan 6s. I paid how much I paid for these sneakers? These sneakers are like $350. Is that a fair price? When you go to the Christian Louboutin store and you pay $1,000 for some red bottom heels for your lady, is that a fair price? If you get on a flight you get on Delta or American Airlines and you get a flight and you want to sit in first class and the ticket's $600 each way, is that a fair price? Is that fair? Somebody tell me, what do y'all think? Is that a fair price? Is Apple charging a fair price for the iPhone? Is it fair? If you want to stay in the presidential suite at the Wynn Hotel in Vegas on the Strip, are they going to charge you a fair price? Somebody let me know. If you want to go buy a scarf from the Gucci store, are they going to charge you a fair price? I got an iPad right here. I like this iPad. It's a very nice iPad. This I don't even know which iPad this is, whatever the new one is. But did that cost a fair price? If I get me a new MacBook, is it a fair price? If you try to buy Amazon, you said, Jeff, hey, I want to buy your company. How much? Is he going to offer you a fair price? Y'all tell me. I want y'all to understand this concept of fair. All right, that's from elementary school. All right, that's from kindergarten. All right, life is not about things being fair. Life is about you giving people what they agree to, you making an agreement with another person, and then an exchange takes place. It's not about it necessarily being fair. Yes, you can be fair, but you also play to win at the same time. You want to win and be fair at the same time. Now, listen, somebody's not going to agree to something if it's not fair, right? If someone thinks what you're offering them is too much, then they'll say no, right? But every flight I've ever been on in my life, I never seen an empty seat in first class. Whether I was flying in coach or I was in first class myself, I ain't never seen an empty seat in first class. Any of you ever seen an empty seat in first class? I haven't. I ain't never went to an Apple store and it was empty. I ain't never seen workers just standing around with nothing to do in the Apple store. I ain't never been to the design district and there was nobody out there buying stuff. So understand that fair is in the eyes of the beholder. You want to find the customers who think your price is fair. So you don't want to lower your price to try to find people at this level. You want to raise your price and find the people who live up here. That's how you make money. You don't need everybody to buy from you. You need the right people to buy from you. And that's just as a side note, the people who spend more money are much less headache. All right, the people who buy your products for $1 are going to be much more trouble than the people who spend $1,000. People who spend the most money with me give me the least amount of problems. The least number of back and forth emails and text messages and hassles and refunds and all this back and forth. That's usually the people who spend the least amount of money give me the most issues. People who spend the most money, no problem at all, ever. Never have any problem with them. They're the happiest people. They thank me every time I talk to them. People who spend the most money, believe it or not. People who spend a little bit of money, they talk to me like I owe them something because they spent $10. All right, this happens. I'm just giving y'all the game. And hopefully this is helpful for some of you. Y'all are using this. And Anthony said you're paying more for the brands, but, well, guess what? They pay for it, don't they? You pay for it, don't you? All right, what kind of sneakers you got on right now, Anthony? What kind of phone you got right now? All right, what kind of car you driving? Are they all name brands, ain't they? All right, so we all are in on this. This is the game that we're in. So number one, I said entrepreneurs focus on art. Then they focus on their own scarcity mindset. Third, they start focusing on their immaculate genius. These entrepreneurs who think, I'm so good at the art, I should be making more money. All right, that you shop at Ross, but guess what they sell at Ross, Anthony? They sell, you could get a cheap version of the brand name. All right, I know what happens at Ross. I've been in Ross. All right, you get the brand name stuff for cheap, but you're still looking for that brand name, ain't you? So you're just trying to get a deal, and you find it at Ross. But that's what Ross is. Ross knows what they are. They know what they're doing. They're not dumb. Ross got Nike gear. Right? But you just get it at a cheaper price. That's all. But if you couldn't get it, guess where you'd be? Right in a Nike store paying full price. So the third thing entrepreneurs focus on is their immaculate genius. They believe because I'm so good at the thing that I deserve to get a certain result. That's not the way it works. That's not the way the formula works. Now, I talked about this yesterday in Selling Yourself. Yes, be good about what you do. Be good at what you do. But at the same time, you have to sell it. And then once you get in, you show them how good you are, and then the results come. You say you stop caring about brands and expensive stuff when I had a family. Understood. I understand. I get it. Dress for us. I get it. I get it. But they still have brand names at Ross. You agree with me, right? They got brand names at Ross. You could just get them at a cheaper price. So you can pay $10 but get a pair of Nike socks. Or it's still a brand name. Nobody knows that you got it from Ross except you. You're the only one who knows it was at Ross. I've been in Ross. There's a Ross right down the street that way. And I stop in there. I see you. I'll try to get me a steal too. Listen. I like to keep my money just like you do. It ain't about how much you got, it's about how much you keep. So I'm on it. I'm on it with you. And the last thing is they focus on all the above and they miss out on the main thing, which is earning money. All right, and that's the thing that you got to get. The business world, the professional world is about generating exchanges, which generates revenue. This is what McDonald's does, Amazon, Nike. Name a big name company look at what you got on right now. Apple. This is what they do. Gatorade, Kraft, 3M. I'm just looking around what I got. Jordan, Amazon, KDP, all the stuff that I got around me, all they focus on is generating revenue. That's what they focus on. Whole Foods, they generate revenue. They focus on how do we make more exchanges. That's what they do all day, every day. The question is, what are you doing? This is the money mindset. So all that said, let me address questions and comments here. I got a coaching call at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to take some questions. Let me see what y'all got to say. If you got a question or comment, go ahead and post it in the comments section. We're going to get into it right now. I'm reading through the comments here. The 3 points here that I shared, by the way, and I'm going to put this up on YouTube as well. It'll be on the live stream tab too on IG when it's over. Number 1, forget all the things you have heard and been told by broke people. And again, there might be people who you know, love, and trust. You got to forget what they told you because they have broke mindsets. It's not their fault. They can only tell you what they know. Number 2, money does not possess a moral conscience. Does not care if you're a good person or a bad person. If you follow the formula, you will make money. This is why drug dealers make money. This is why Bernie Madoff made money. This is why Enron made a whole bunch of money. And this is why the nicest, most righteous person working down at your local religious place can be broke. But they're the best person in the world. Being good does not mean you deserve money. It is a thing that you should aim for, but at the same time, it is not a formula for creating revenue. And we are talking about business here. I'm just giving you the accurate, objective formulas. And number 3, if you're in business, you're in the business of generating revenue. That is the business that you're in. The thing that you do is merely a vehicle for generating revenue. It is not the thing that's not the main thing. It's a means to an end. Z from Miami was good. Let me see. Mr. Get Your Game Right from Louisville, Kentucky. What's up? I'm taking questions now, so if you got one, put it in the comment section. Belfer said, yeah, I'm not made of money. I've heard that. Ja Flute said, all of the above. Yes, I heard that. Belfer said, as a kid, he said, Dad, can I get a Happy Meal? And his dad said, every meal is a Happy Meal. Well, Happy Meal was pretty cheap, right? A Happy Meal back in the day was like $2. Always Training said, save for a rainy day. Yeah, save for a rainy day is not actually a bad idea. But I get the spirit of what you're saying. Arvin said, this is what I needed, money mentality. Yes. Andre said, how can we strengthen our money mentality? So, any of you who's read a good book about money mindset, post it in the comment section so we can make sure we can crowdsource this. But I got a bunch of them that's at dreallday.com/read, READ. So Dre All Day is my website. And I have a list of books that I put on there on different subjects. I need to update that list because I got like 100 books I need to add to the list. But Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The Richest Man in Babylon is one. There's T. Harv Ecker's book. I forget the name of his book, but just look up T. Harv Eker. I like Grant Cardone's stuff about money. He's more like a current guy. But these are all books that are about money, selling. I like The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. That's a good one. I'm looking at my list right now. Let's see if I can find that list. And I got so many books on this. There's like 300 books on the list. So I'm not going to read through all of it. And go find any events. Who is that? Andre Bennett. Any events that you see or hear about that are about money, just go to the event. Just go. Usually they're free, or the tickets will be relatively cheap because what they're going to do is teach and then they're going to sell you something. You don't have to buy what they're selling, but just go to the event because you'll probably learn something. Even if 90% of what they say is not useful to you, that 10% will be worth your time. And the other people at the event are all people who came to learn about money. You want to be around those kind of people. Most of the people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis are not trying to get better. They're basically living life on cruise control. You want to be around people who are living life intentionally and trying to get better. So go to events because those are the kind of people that you want to meet in life. Some people who I know, very good people who I met by going to events. I didn't know them from anywhere. We just happened to be sitting next to each other. We start talking and still cool with them to this day. That's why you go to events. Because you never know who you might run into. But you got to be in the room to meet these people. Armin said, I'm in a middle-low class household. My family always says, save, save, save. But only buy what you need, like food. That's not necessarily a bad thing, Armin. It just depends on, other context goes into that. I get it. Yeah, everybody got that concept about the not understanding wealth management. That's right. Always Training said, many current athletes go broke. Yeah, they go broke for a different reason because they have a lifestyle that is oversized based on the fact that eventually they stop making money, so then they can't keep up the lifestyle. Always Training said, hell, I barely got enough to pay for the live event, LOL. Well, that's an investment. See, it's not a cost though. See, it's an investment because it's going to pay you back. So that's why it's worth it. Dave Ramsey, yes, that's the guy whose name I was missing. Belfort, thank you. Dave Ramsey has a lot of stuff about money. He has a book called, I think it's called Money Mindset. It's something around, it's a very simple title, but it's about just understanding the very basic concepts of money mindset. Napoleon Hill, absolutely. Always Training said, why isn't all money good money? Well, you tell me. I mean, it depends on how you make it. I mean, I can go do some crime right now and make money. Is that good money? I'm probably not going to feel good about it. I'm probably going to have I might be creating bad karma or bad energy around it. And if it's a crime, then I might actually get caught and I might get arrested for it. So I probably don't want to take any money, just any possible way. There's a lot of ways I could make money, but I probably don't want to do all of them. So that's why I wouldn't say just any dollar is a good dollar, but any dollar you can make doing your thing, if you're doing it for the purpose of helping people and you're giving them something of value and they believe is of value, then that's a fair exchange. That's a happy conversation that you want to be having, and you want to do that as many times as possible. And people want to give you the money. Always Training said, when to turn down money. When would you turn down money? I mean, you got to give me some context and some answers to these questions that you're asking here. Why would you turn down money? Do you mean in your own business? So you says always, so assuming that you're a trainer, is there any possible way that somebody could offer you money to be their trainer and you would say no? The only way I could see, my boxing trainer, he was telling me this morning, he got so many clients that he can't take on clients. So he turns down money. He's like, my schedule is full. I can't train any more people. So in that instance, I could say, okay, I can't take on any more clients. I could turn down that money. But other than that, like if I got 2 clients, but I can take on 10, all right, I'll take client number 3. Why not? So Always Training, tell me what you mean there if you're asking about turning down money. Anthony Ortega was good. D-Rod says, how disciplined you can be with it and use it to work for you. Yeah, exactly. Putting money to work for you, which is Robert Kiyosaki. That's another person. Now that you said that, it made me think about that. Robert Kiyosaki's book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Everybody should read that. That should be required in schools. But who knows? They might have canceled them. School's just canceling everybody. So y'all gotta get this information on your own. Don't depend on school. I went to school for business and didn't learn anything about entrepreneurship until I went to a network marketing meeting. That's a fact. Capitol Creek Boardwalk. Appreciate you. Said, please come to D.C. Maybe in the summertime, man. I like staying in Miami in the winter. It's too cold up there. I was looking at the weather in Philly. It was like 50 degrees up there. Y'all tripping. It's 80 degrees down here. I gotta be where it's 80 and up. You already said they can't even market it. Yeah, that's facts. Let me see. If you got a question or comment, post it now. I'm going through the comments and reading. Let's see. Anthony said, I sound like the person who does what he likes and not about the money. Yeah, you could do what you like and it doesn't have to be about the money, but at the same time it's about the money. I heard say that. I think it was Puff Daddy. I heard him saying that. He said it's not about the money, but it's about the money. And that's pretty much the mentality I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Like when I do the things that I do, I'm not doing it just because of the money, but it is about the money because I'm in business. And if I don't focus on the money, then I won't make any money. That's the game that we're in, people. This is just the way that it works. Ja Flute, appreciate you. Arvin said, if you're really good at being the artist, could you hire a talented and amazing marketer and salesperson? Yes, you 100% can. You probably wouldn't want to hire them. You probably want to partner with them because a really good marketer or salesperson wants to get paid for their work. In other words, like if let's say you're a great artist and I see you have a business and I see you're a terrible salesperson and I'm a great salesperson, you can't pay me by the hour because I'm going to make you way more money. So I want to get paid based on what I'm producing. So if I take you from a $50,000 a year business to $1 million a year business, I want my income to reflect the increase that I helped you create. So don't just pay me 50 grand a year. No, you're going to pay me. I want my base and I want a commission based on what I'm doing. And actually, I'm going to tell you, I want to partner with your business. I want ownership because without me, you ain't making $1 million a year. So actually, I should have some equity in your business. So that's what I would ask for. Armin said that way you can continue focusing on the art, especially if you're not talented. Yes. So I just explained that. But at the same time, if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, you need to be paying attention to the money. Even if you don't want to pay attention to the money, you need to pay attention to the money. Why? Because it's your business. If you're not paying attention to it, somebody else is, and they could be robbing you and you don't even know that they're robbing you. That's what happens to a lot of athletes. They're not paying attention to the money. Their financial advisors and their lawyers and the people around them are robbing them of their money because they're not watching their own. They're not watching their own banking account. That happened to LeVar Ball's kid. Which one was it? Was it? I think it was Lonzo. Wasn't it Lonzo Ball a couple years ago? He got robbed by his financial advisor. Dude stole $2 million from him. Why? Because he wasn't watching the money. And I don't know how that happened with LeVar Ball. I mean, that's all he talked about was the business. I don't know how that happened. They get robbed because somebody wasn't watching the money. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He played his last couple. A lot of people don't know. His last couple of years in the league, he played because he got robbed by his financial advisor. He needed to make money back. Charles Barkley talked about this in his book way back in the day when he was playing. He got robbed by his financial advisor. Why? Because he wasn't watching the money. So this happens to a lot of people. They're not paying attention to the money. They get robbed. So as an entrepreneur, it's no different. You got to be watching the money. Let's see. Anthony said, I stopped caring about brands. Oh, yeah, I saw that one. He said, you can wear a non-brand and look good. Well, it's all good. Well, if you got a family and you already got a lady, then you don't really have to worry about impressing anyone, I suppose. I guess that's the way you're looking at it. That's fine. If that works for you, it's all good. Always Training says, how much free work should we do before we charge? That's a good question. It depends on the context. With what you do, I wouldn't, if you're a trainer, I wouldn't do anything free. I wouldn't do any free sessions. I say, look at my Instagram, look at my YouTube, look at my TikTok. You can see what I'm doing. Look at these before and after pictures of my clients. I put you on the phone with 3 people who I've already helped. And if you're not convinced by then you need to go find yourself somebody else. But if you want to work with me, here's the price. And here's my schedule. That's what I would do. And that's a mentality. Always Training. That's a mindset. It's not a tactic. It's a mindset. Belfort says, how do you know if you're charging high? Well, it depends on how many people are buying. High and low is based on how many people are buying and what kind of clients are you attracting. So one of the most important questions, Belfort, is who do you want to help? Who do you want to serve and how do you want to serve them? And then who is your ideal client? These are all questions that we're going to talk about at Working Your Game Live. You got to know who you want to help. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You can't help everybody. So you have to make decisions about who you want to serve. E. Smith said, I got Think and Grow Rich is awesome. I agree. It is awesome. Vegata said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yes. Good suggestion. Anthony, how do you find the opportunities to make you money Most of the time I hear from someone else than seeing it. Well, it goes back to what I just said to Bell. I mean, there's a million different ways to make money. You got to decide how you want to make money. What are you actually good at that's worth money? That's a better question. Anthony, if I told you right now, look, you got 48 hours to go earn $1,000. You could do it any way you want, but you got to use one of your personal skills. What would you do? What are you good enough at that you could guarantee make $1,000 in 48 hours? What would you do? It has to be based on your personal skill set. What would you do? That's a good way to get started. I ain't saying that's the only answer, but it's a way to get started. Yes, Total Money Makeover. That's the name of that book. Dave Ramsey, Always Training. Thank you. Yeah, Dave Ramsey, I like his stuff. 24/7 LIG. Appreciate you. E. Smith said, there's a lot of you all that teaches money subjects live in Florida. Well, finance is not my area of expertise. I'm just talking about this for the entrepreneurs. But yes, there's a lot of people in Florida, in Texas, in New Jersey, in Delaware, in North Dakota, California, everywhere. There's people who talk about money everywhere. The good thing about the internet is you don't even have to go anywhere physically, but I would suggest if you can find a in-person meeting, you go, because you're going to meet the other people in the room. The law of association, that's why I'm telling you to do that. I would say just go to everyone that you can find. I guarantee you're going to meet somebody who's worth talking to and building a relationship with. At every single one of those events, you'll meet at least one person. But you got to go there and actually talk to people and show up looking like somebody who's worth talking to. So this is why the way you show up matters as well. Your presence, the way you present yourself, all that stuff matters. Arvin said, crazy, my man became number 1 all time in scoring because he wanted more money. Well, he didn't want, he needed more money. He got robbed by his financial advisor. He needed that money because he didn't have all the money he made from playing ball. It was gone. So he had to get himself a couple of hours so he could retire. That happens. A lot of times it happens in sports. Arvin said, are you hyped for the fight of the decade, Crawford versus Spence? Well, we'll see if it takes place. They ain't signed a contract yet. So if it happens, I'll pay attention. I mean, I don't watch boxing that deep. But if that fight happens, I'll probably watch that fight. But it ain't happened yet. But if it happens, hopefully it does. They both talking you know how fighters always talking like they want to fight. We'll see. All right, I'll take a couple more questions and we'll wrap this up. And I'll give myself a 45-minute, 30-minute rest. because I got a coaching call, and then I got another call I got to hop on after that for this program that I'm a part of. Anybody else got a question, go ahead and post it while I'm waiting for that. My live event, Work on Your Game Live, is that link right there. It is a 2-day event. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, May 5th and May 6th. It is a virtual event. It is online only. You can take it right from you should be on a laptop, not on your phone. And at that event, day 1, we are talking mindset and strategy. And day 2 is application and execution specifically for entrepreneurs who are in the thought leadership space, meaning you are selling coaching, speaking, courses, programs, live events, workshops, training, anything where you're taking your knowledge and you're selling it in any way, packaged up. This event is for you. It's a 2-day event. You get your tickets by going to workonyourgame.live. That is where you get your ticket. You don't have to travel. You don't need a flight. You don't need a hotel. You don't need Airbnb. You don't need food expense. All you got to do is get a ticket to the event. If you miss a day, if we miss part of a day, yes, you will have access to all the replays from everything at the end of each day. So at the end of Thursday, we'll download the recording and we'll put it up, and everybody who has a ticket will have access to the replay. Friday, same thing. Only people who can see the replay are people who have a ticket. If you don't have a ticket, you cannot see the replay. So you must have a ticket. So even if you got to work Thursday and Friday, get a ticket, and then you can watch the replay on Saturday and Sunday on the weekend while you're at home. So you must have a ticket to get access to the replays. Again, that's at workonyourgame.live. This link is also in my bio on Instagram. So if you're watching this on Instagram, there's a link in my bio. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's down in the description. But the event is May 5th and 6th. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're watching this like 3 years later, the event already happened. So make sure you are getting this time sensitive. May 5th and 6th, 2022. So if you're watching this video in 2025, the event already happened. But if you go to Work on Your Game Live, you could probably go to the next event that I have. Whatever that's going to be. My event's going to be called Work on Your Game Live. Unless I invent a new one. So anybody else got a question, go ahead and post it. I'm going to take 1 or 2 more questions, then we'll wrap this one up. For those of you who are new here, do not know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Glad to meet you. I got this whole brand out here called Work on Your Game Live. Work on Your Game. My event's called Work on Your Game Live. And what we focus on here, 4 things specifically. Mindset, strategy, accountability, and execution. In that order. Mindset, strategy, accountability, execution. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an athlete, or whatever you're working on, we got a whole system and program for that. That's covered in this book right here, the Work on Your Game System Manual. I cover all those things that I just said. It's covered right here. And I got a podcast, by the way. Any of you who don't know that I have a podcast, it's called Work on Your Game. Y'all can listen to that by going to workonyourgamepodcast.com. That's where you get access to every episode that I ever made. That's the link to that. And if you want to get my daily motivation text that I send out every day, yes, I send out a daily motivation text every day. Text me at that number right there, 305-384-6894. So that's the way all y'all can get into my world, and I won't even charge you nothing. You want to come to my event, you buy a ticket. But if you're not ready for that, you just want to take a quick step, you already follow me on IG, text me, get my daily motivation, listen to my podcast. It's called Work on Your Game. Both of those are completely free, cost you nothing. So any of you who just wants to take a short step, you want to dip your toes in the Work on Your Game water, and just to see what I'm about, see if I'm really this good every day, see if I can live up to my promise, listen to my podcast. Now, if you don't like my podcast, then you don't like me. So listen to my podcast and you'll see. I will prove it to you. All right. So I will take on all the risk, listen to my podcast, and I'll show you what my game is about. I do this every single day, literally every day. My podcast comes out every day. Yeah, even on holidays. We have 2,100 plus episodes. Actually, I just recorded episode 2,200 yesterday. Every day since 2016. So like I told y'all, my free stuff is better than people's paid stuff. I'll tell you that. That's my business model. And nobody can beat me at that. I'll tell the whole world, nobody can do it. Nobody can copy it. You can't knock that off. King Gillibo. How do you make yourself aware of your unconscious? What does that even mean? What do you mean you're unconscious? The first thing is somebody has to point out that you are unconscious. Because if you're unconscious, you can't be aware of it, right? So somebody has to point it out to you. So that's the first thing you got to do. Scary Cats just told you right there. The daily text is fire. There you go. Prince said, how do people in Nigeria join? Join which one? I told you about 3 different things. I said my live event, my podcast, and my text. So which one are you talking about? Prince. My text, if you are in Nigeria, you probably can't text me because you probably have to have an American or Canadian number to text me. So you probably can't text. But you can listen to my podcast, and you can get a ticket to my live event. You got the internet. I mean, you're on here. So you probably can't text me from Nigeria, but you can do everything else. What you can do also, you can get yourself a Google Voice number, and you can join it there. King Gullibo, things you don't even know you know. Yeah, that's what I just told you. First of all, you got to get around people who can point it out to you, because you don't know, so how would you even know that you don't know? That's like a brain teaser. So you got to get around people who can point it out to you. Prince said, I'm from Nigeria. I sent in mail to host you, but no response. What do you mean you sent in mail? Physical mail, email? What you talking about? Prince, send me a DM or whatever you're referring to, and we'll get it taken care of. Ray Williams said, I need to hear this. Appreciate the information. Appreciate you. Arvin said, would you recommend the event to up-and-coming entrepreneurs? Yes. Who haven't got anything running but would like to? Yes. That's what I just said. If you are planning to be in this space, you should come to this event, because we're talking about mindset, strategy, accountability, execution for business people. So if you plan on being in business, these principles will help you. And the orders that we're going to do this is principles come first, the mindset comes first, but then principles, strategies, and tactics. So these principles will apply to anyone in any business, even if you haven't started your business yet. Prince, you're talking about podcasts? WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com. Just go to that website and you can get links to all the podcast platforms. I mean, you're in Nigeria, but y'all got the internet in Nigeria. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, that's worldwide. So just go to that webpage and you get access to all that stuff. You don't have to be in America for that. Let's see. How to join podcasts. WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com, everybody. Or just go to your favorite app. What you got? Jafru, what you got? You got Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud. What you got? Just go on Spotify. I think most of y'all got Spotify or Apple. Go on either one of those. Just type in Work On Your Game, and you're going to see a big picture of me. And all you got to do is join right there. Work On Your Game Podcast. That's what it's called. So Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. We put the podcast on YouTube too, but the YouTube video doesn't come out till like 60 to 90 days after the audio. So if you want to get the new ones as soon as they come out, you got to be on the audio app. Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, Google Play, Overcast, all of those. Y'all know how this stuff works, man. Y'all be on your phones all day. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Daberdeen says, you want my boy to fly there. E. Smith says, what's the podcast website again? WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com. Or just go to any app and just look up Work On Your Game, and you will see it. I own Work On Your Game. So if you look up Work On Your Game, you're going to see me. All right. So any app you go to, just type in Work On Your Game, you're going to see me. Or go to WorkOnYourGamePodcast.com. All right, everybody, so we're going to wrap this up. I got a coaching call in 30 minutes. I can give myself a little bit of a rest here. I'm going to be doing another live. I'm going to be doing these lives probably very consistently. Let's just say that. I'm not going to make any promises, but very consistently, at least up until May 5th and 6th, because I am doing this to promote my live event. I'm not even going to front for y'all. I'm doing this to promote my live event, but I might keep doing it even after the event. Get a ticket by going to workonyourgame.live. If you haven't gotten your copy of one of my books, The Third Day, Mirror of Motivation, y'all see my ads on Instagram. I know y'all be seeing these ads. You didn't get your copy of this book, go to thirddaybook.com. That's where you get that book. If you didn't get your copy of, you seen my ad for this book, you didn't get your copy of this book, go to mirrormotivation.com. Now y'all know I'm a real person. Yes, those are real. Those ads you see, this is me. Get your copies of these books by going to thirddaybook.com, mirrormotivation.com. Y'all know what it is, everybody. I appreciate your time and attention. Work on your game. We out of here.